I'm Kelvin Guest Wines, and today I'm going to show you how to taste wine. So here's one I prepared earlier. I've got a nice glass of white wine here. It can be red, it could be rosy, it could be orange, it could be fizzy. It is entirely up to you. So I'm going to take you through a process which is often referred to as the systematic approach to tasting. But to you and me, we could just call it wine tasting. But there is some steps that we can take that enable us to be able to experience a little bit broader what it is that we're tasting in our glass of wine. So the first thing we're doing is we're going to look at the wine. And by looking at the wine, this is called the appearance. This is what it's often referred to, the term. And here we're looking at the wine and we're looking for it to just be nice and clear and bright and clean. There is one or two wines that can be cloudy, and they're made especially that way, and they are very nice and enjoyable, but a lot of wines are meant to be nice and clear like this, and this has got a nice bright colour to it, as you can see here. So then secondly, we're now going to actually sniff the wine. So we're going to stick our nose in and give it a sniff. So it's always nice to just have a little sniff just while the wine is pretty still, and smell, and then give it a swirl, and this releases some of the aroma molecules, so it allows it to get a little bit more out of the wine, and this is called the nose. And here you'll smell things like fruits. They may be ripe fruits, tropical fruits, green fruits. You may get some flowers in there. There might be a bit of oak, etc., etc. And then next, we're going to taste the wine. And taste the wine is obviously popping some of the wine into your mouth. This is called the palate. And hopefully then what we're doing is we're allowing the wine just to settle there for a moment and focus on what it is that's been released in the flavours. Often the flavours may resemble what we've experienced on the nose, and they are similar to the aromas. However, because the liquid is now warming up in your mouth, the wine may develop other flavours in there that you didn't get necessarily on the nose in the first instance, and this can make the wine broader and more complex. And finally, we're going to then swallow the wine, and after we swallow it, this was called the finish. And so to taste the wine, what we're going to do, as you can see, we don't want the glass too full. You want to be able to still give it a swirl, give it a little bit of a sniff, and just remember the kind of aromas that you got there on the nose. And we're going to pop it in the mouth, and I suppose it's a little bit like whistling backwards or using a mouthwash. Those kind of processes that we're going to use for tasting rather than simply just drinking. So this is what I'm going to do. So there, this opened up the flavours on my palate, and a lot of them did correspond with the aromas I was getting on the nose. But they've now travelled. After I've swallowed the liquid, those flavours are still travelling along my tongue and up my nose. And they're very, very nice indeed. Very enjoyable, very nice. And the longer those lovely, pleasant flavours linger in your mouth, then the better the wine is. And I suppose what you're making now is you're making an assessment right at the end is, well, do you like the wine? And do you want another glass of it? Because that's the most important thing about tasting the wine is once you've drank it, do you want more of it, or is it not for you? And that is the beauty of wine tasting. So cheers.